Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday afternoon, August the 16th, 2020. I hope everyone is doing as well as possible. I was doing better when I got up this morning, and then we got a bunch of smoke that blew in from wildfires around, and I can barely breathe. I've got my windows closed and the air conditioner going, but the smoke outside is unbelievable. But it even shows up on NASA Worldview, so I may have to cut this a little bit short. I've got a full report ready for climate and methane and sea ice and earthquakes and everything, but I may have to just cut it short. I'll see how I do. So we're going to start with the Noaa methane data from yesterday. This is my weekly update that I like to do and put on YouTube, where I'm tracking the Noaa methane data, and we're watching it from week to week, whether it's going up or down or what it's doing. So this is from yesterday, Saturday the 15th, and this is the 477/469 millibar reading for the METOP-1 satellite in the morning. The average or mean was 1906 parts per million, and the high reading was 2467. Now we're seeing pink, this, which is the higher range down here. This is between 2000 and whatever this high number is. It's different for each picture. So in this case, it's between 2000 and 2467 parts per billion, and we're even seeing it down here over a lot of the southern hemisphere, especially around the coastline of the Antarctic. Here in the afternoon, we've got white areas which are missing data, but the mean is 1906 parts per billion, and the high reading was 2362. On the METOP-2 satellite in the morning, the mean was 1885. The high reading was 2539, so that's up. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1886, and the high reading was 2365. So here's the spreadsheet and the graph that I've been working off of. I started tracking the methane data March of 2019, and here's where it started out at about, what was it, 1857 parts per billion or something like that. And so anyway, here we are yesterday for the 15th of August. Here are the numbers I just called off and added up and divided by 4, and we come up with an average of 1895 parts per billion, which is the same as it was on last Saturday the 8th. So we're not seeing any change this week. So we can see this line is a little straight line here on the chart, but it had gone up 3 weeks in a row. The week of the 25th of July, it went up 1.5 parts per billion, and then the week of August 1st, it went up 4 parts per billion. The week of August 8th, or until August 8th, it went up another 4 parts per billion, and so now this week it kind of leveled out. So we'll see what it does next week. So it's the same as, these numbers are the same as last week. And here on this page I'm tracking it on a daily basis, and on my Subscribestar page I do a daily video for my subscribers and show the daily tracking so that we can see what's going on, and show the methane as it comes available on Copernicus as well. I'm also showing the Arctic sea ice on a daily basis and doing a kind of a climate roundup every day. So they're very informative shows. So if you like what you're seeing here on YouTube and you want more in-depth and want to be able to private message me and get notified whenever I do these private videos and you can see them, consider coming on over and joining our Subscribestar community. And the details are in the description box below the video. So here's what happened daily this week. So here we are on Saturday the 8th, where it was 1895.75. Now it had gone up from the day before, 1.75. Now on Sunday it went down 0.5. On Monday it went down another 0.5. On Tuesday it went up 0.75. On Wednesday it went up 1.25. So by Wednesday we had seen an increase of 1 part per billion after it had gone down and back up. And then Thursday it went down slightly, 0.25. And then on Friday it went there was no change. It was still at 0.75 higher than Saturday. And then on the 15th, which is the day I'm showing today, we're showing a decrease over Friday of 0.75 parts per billion. So that makes us come out to where we started from last Saturday. But since February the 8th, we've seen an increase of 32.5 parts per billion just this year. So that's quite remarkable. So it's just zipping along. Now we'll look at the Copernicus data. This is from Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Service. Here's the top part of the page. And methane. They've released their Sunday data today. I have that loaded up. The Arctic view and surface level ready to go. Here's the color ledger. Now they've tweaked this ledger and the algorithms since I've been tracking methane for over 2 years. I learned CAMS. I started learning CAMS in the spring of 2018. And they've changed the color ledger and changed the algorithms, and they had to do it because they knew the methane was going to be going up, and this was the only way they could, so that everything wouldn't just show up black as it kept going up. So we want to keep these greens in mind when we see the greens. It's 1900. This aqua green, like this color here, is 1900 parts per billion. Now this is surface level that we're looking at. This dark green is 1902, which is this color here. And then as it goes lighter in the greens, it goes up and higher readings. And so this chartreuse color is 2000. That's this color right here. 2000 parts per billion. And then once you get up into the yellows and oranges and reds, you're just zipping on up until you get into this dark color, which is this dark brownish red, and that's a range of 2160 to 10,000 parts per billion. And this range used to be more than that. They brought it down. I don't know why. They just did. So here's where it left off on Saturday. We're seeing this big arm of methane move out into the Barents Sea from this Scandinavian coastline. And this high release around Severnaya Zemlya is still. We're seeing this green wave. It's been green kind of all week over this East Siberia Sea and the Chukchi Sea and in the Beaufort Sea here. And Alaska's covered up in the green. We're seeing this whole east side kind of covered up in green and the light green as background colors. And then when we run the movie, you'll see that it fills up when the sun moves around to the daytime areas of the planet. It comes back to life and pops back up. So let's run the movie and see what we can see. Well, we're seeing some Iceland is coming back to life. Now watch right here on this end and over here in a large area on Monday. So the data is for today and the forecast period runs Monday through Thursday. So as we watch it through again, now watch right here. So we've got some pretty high releases on Iceland. We're still seeing this arm move out and high releases here. The greens, these waves of methane, are just moving out through the ocean. It's coming up from underneath the water. It's coming up through the sea surface. This is surface level, and the sea ice is around here. All the coastlines are open. There's no ice around these coastlines anymore. There's and it's thinning. It's coming away from the Canadian and the Greenland coastlines to up here. But we'll show all that too. And you see it's just filling up Russia here. Alaska's coming back to life. There's a lot of permafrost in the interior of Alaska that's melting, and that's releasing a lot of methane. And also in Russia, a lot of permafrost coming up. And Canada as well. And North America's not looking very good. Now let's go to the North Pole view. We can see the whole northern hemisphere here. And when you zoom in to any of these regions, which you can do by the drop downs, you can really see the methane coming up in detail. I used to show a lot more areas, but it just made the reporting too long. I am going to show the North America view today. though, because I haven't shown that in a while. So here's the Persian Gulf. Here's Europe over here. Germany's filled up. Here's the UK and Ireland, and we see it streaming out into the North Atlantic here. Here's India. It's covered up on this northern end. And here's China. Heavy methane. And we see these waves of green moving out from China into the Pacific Ocean, and see this green wave moving out from Alaska down into the Pacific as well. And off this eastern seaboard of the US, we've got this wave. Now watch here, it's high releases, and then we've got a wave move out into the Atlantic. So I'm really paying more attention to the greens now, because I think they tweaked the algorithms to make it look not so bad, because we are at the highest readings we've ever been, so it should be looking worse than it is. Seriously. If it's 20 points higher than it has been, you know, it should be looking worse than last year, and it's not that much different. Here's the North America view. So we're seeing a lot of greens from the middle of the country all the way over east, and high releases throughout different areas. Florida, here West Texas, this is where they have all that oil drilling. And pay attention here in Southern California and down into Baja. We've got really high releases here, and through the interior of California. And right here there's this area popping up where my pointer is, and this is the Reno, Nevada area where I live. And these little dots, these are the lakes. This is Lake Tahoe, and this is Pyramid Lake. So it's right in between. And this is from the wildfire. We have numerous wildfires burning around our area, but there's this one in Northern California that popped up a couple of days ago in Loyalton, and it's uncontained, and it's 20,000 acres, and it's uncontained right now, and it's in the Lassen area of Northern California. And there's Lassen volcano. It's an old volcano. It's up there. So we've got uncontained 20,000 acres so far that's burned, and they're evacuating northern 395 and some different highways, and they've got some roads blocked off, and they're evacuating in Cold Springs, which is just north of Reno. And the sky here in Reno is smoke filled, and you can barely breathe. I'm not going out. I did my watering on my garden this morning. That was before the smoke came in, but when I woke up, my eyes were already watering. So this is why. And I'm going to show you some other stuff too if my voice holds out. I'm going to show you. There are also wildfires burning down here in Colorado, just south of Denver. And you can see all this smoke on NASA Worldview here in Colorado, and here in Northern California and in the Reno area. It's just covering. And this is the fire season, and it's so dry. We've gotten almost no precipitation this year, and the forests, the trees are all dry, everything's dry, and anything causing a spark can just cause a fire. So it's terrible. It's just terrible. Here's the global view. Now we're seeing this lighter color of blue come all the way down to the bottom of the picture here, all the way covering the Antarctic. So this is fairly recent that we've gotten this higher reading. This is about 1820 parts per billion. The darker blue, like that color there, that's 1800. And then the lighter blue, which is from you can see the demarcation between this lighter blue and then a lighter aqua. It's from about just above the equator and then down for the whole southern hemisphere. That's kind of filling everything up, and because of that lighter blue, we can now see the coastline. We can see the outlines of all these continents. This is the outline of the Antarctic down here. You can now see the outline of South America and South Africa and Australia and New Zealand, and all of these. When it was dark blue, you couldn't see them, and the only way you could really see them was if there was high methane coming up around the coastlines. We're also seeing higher releases still on the coastline. Look at that here in the Antarctic region. So this is methane coming up through the sea ice, and the sun, this western peninsula is starting to come back into the sunlight. The earth has started tilting. The North Pole is starting to tilt away from the sun, and the South Pole is starting on its trip, tilting back towards the sun. So we're starting to see a little sunlight in different areas down here, but the most of the continent is still in the dark down there. Here's 500 HPA for today, and so we're seeing more red now spreading out over the Arctic region, and the highest reading is down here over India, going into China, and then over here in the Middle East, and up here in Russia. And we're seeing the dark green all the way to the bottom of the picture there as well. Here's total column. This is all the methane added up in the layers and to what it's registering totally through all the columns. We can see northern India is the heaviest, and then the next color down is this bright red, and that's covering this huge area going from Egypt this is Egypt. Yeah, this is Egypt all the way across the Middle East to India, and then it's spotty and it's red through China and some darker areas here. And this red-orange, that color will be turning red. So we've got larger areas that are red today. So I wanted to show while I'm here, I've started showing nitrogen dioxide for my Subscribe Star members. Someone asked if I could show nitrous oxide over China, and on cams they show nitrogen dioxide, which is one of the derivatives or combinations of nitrogen and oxygen, and comes up with nitrogen dioxide. There are 7 different things that it can formulate into depending on what the source is. But when I was looking at it today, and what happens is when you run the movie, it pops up depending on the readings, really pop up on where the sun is across the globe. So here's some high readings over here in China, but we're seeing even higher readings here in North America, and I was kind of flipping out because normally we don't see them this high, but it's from the wildfires, and this is what I was going to show. Here it is today, North America. Look at this. This is even off the chart. That's off the ledger. What it's registering, the highest is here, and I'm thinking, what is this? This is parts per million, I think. So this dark red, reddish brown is 50 to, this is a number 3. I'm thinking this is 300. And there's a big white hole in the middle. This is in the near the Denver area, just south of the Denver area, and that's white, and so it's higher than what they're able to register on the chart. It's unreal. And then here in the Reno area, look at this. It's in that, so no wonder I can't breathe. It's from the fires. And it's even higher up here than in Southern California, where they've got fires burning near LA. So it's worse here than down there, but it's even worse over here in Colorado. We can also see another thing that shows up when you have fires, high formaldehyde readings. Here, see, it's in the white zone here again in the south of Denver, and here it's very high in the Reno area, and it's high down here in Southern California. Now I don't know why it's high down here in the south, but probably pollution. Also, you'll see high carbon monoxide readings where it pulls the oxygen out of the atmosphere. So here we've got very high readings here in Colorado, and not that bad over here in my neck of the woods, but that's unreal. Let's check out carbon dioxide. That should be pretty high. Yeah, well, it's hard to tell. We'd have to get probably surface level readings on that. Yeah, so you can see the dark brown here and here, but it's worse over here on this eastern side. So it's just different sources. So anyway, I thought I'd show that. Okay, now oh, and I also want to show, while I'm at it, hang on, we're going to get to sea ice. I want to finish showing all this smoke. I've got the fires layer turned on here. So here's the United States. This is from today. and here's smoke coming. So here's Denver, Colorado. So there's a fire north of Denver. Here's one east of Denver. Here's another one east of west of Denver. These are west of Denver. And here's another one, and this is north of Grand Junction, but you can, all those fires, and then there's other stuff going on too, I'm sure, but look at all that smoke from those fires. And then over here it's pretty cloudy. We've been having thunderstorms in the afternoon. So here's Reno, there's Pyramid Lake, here's Lake Tahoe. Let's go back to yesterday. So here are the fires for yesterday. There was it's not showing up. There was another one north of Reno yesterday, and we had a fire tornado that they had to put out. That was, but look at the smoke yesterday going up. Now this is Smoke Creek Desert here, but here's the smoke going up. So yesterday the smoke from the Loyalton fire was kind of going northeast, but then we've got fires burning down here to the south of us that's coming across. That's smoke from fires. And here it is today, where all this smoke now is headed right down right into Reno, and we're in a valley like a bowl in between the mountains. And so once the smoke gets in the valley, unless we have a bunch of wind, it just kind of sits there. So, and here's this big thing where the smoke is. So that's what I'm dealing with today. Now and we'll turn this fires layer off. Okay, we're gonna get to sea ice in a minute. Okay. Here's sea ice and snow cover. This is from Climate Reanalyzer for today. We've seen it's really diminishing on this east coast of Greenland. It's been raining along here. There's been a big storm that came up from Iceland, and it's been beating this eastern coastline, and it's this ice just to the north of Greenland is really disintegrating. We've also seen the ice collapsing here in the Beaufort Sea. This is on the west side. Here's the North Pole, and so that's really been collapsing this week. We're also seeing a lot less concentration. You can see the demarcation here. The darker colors means that it's less concentrated. And we've got holes opening up, but when we go to NASA Worldview, it's pretty cloudy, so it's hard to see a lot of this. So we just have to kind of imagine, once we see the models, where these holes are opening up. And then when we can peek through the clouds, we can see the state of the ice, or where it's opened up. So we can see the coastline is really cleared out along Alaska and Canada here. The Hudson Bay is ice-free, the Baffin Bay is ice-free, and there's just a little tiny bit of ice here to the right of Severnaya Zemlya, and this whole Russian coastline is ice-free. Svalbard is ice-free. Franz Josef Land is ice-free. Novaya Zemlya is ice-free. And when we go to NASA Worldview, you're going to see some blue-green color on the water here in the Barents Sea here, and that's algae. One of my members on Subscribestar messaged me today and said, what's the turquoise color? I said, that's algae. That pops up. You'll be seeing that, and it can turn into a bright green color even as we go later in the season, and that's a sign of how warm this water is becoming. And once the ice melts, then the algae starts blooming. So let's go through our slideshow and back through this week. So last Sunday, the 9th, this is where we were with sea ice and snow cover. So it was thinning out here in the Beaufort Sea, and thinning out. This hole was starting to develop on this northeast knob of Greenland. So here we go. Here's from last Sunday the 9th. Here's the 10th. Here's the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. Now I see there's a big change. Let me go back. From the 13th, now look to the 14th, it's really thinned out here. And here's the 15th, and we're starting to see these holes open up here. And here it is today. So there's been a lot of melting and collapsing just in the last few days. Here's the U.S. Navy model for the sea ice thickness for today. It was run yesterday, so the date that it's good for, that it's effective for, is for today, the 16th. Was run yesterday, the 15th. So let's zoom in. So this is the sea ice thickness for the Arctic, and this darker purple is about 1 meter thick. The dark blue is about 1.25 meters thick. The bright aqua is about 2 meters thick, and there's just a tiny bit of that, and it's mainly darker aqua. That means it's getting thinner and thinner. And so we're seeing this white area. That's the last color you'll see before it goes gray to nothing. So it means that there's just a little skim, or there's holes in the ice, but it's not, the thickness is pretty much gone. So this northern Greenland area is opening up. It's quite thin, just a little skim of ice left on this east coast of Greenland. It's opening up on the coast of this Canadian archipelago all along here, and these tributaries are melting, and we can see here it's whitish here in the Beaufort Sea, and quite thin from this 80-degree north latitude line over to the west. And it keeps thinning here on quadrants 1 and 2 as well. And this is what's left of the thickest sea ice. We're not seeing any trace of red or yellow or green. So we're down to the aqua now, which is about 2 meters thick and under. Now here's the 30-day animation, and so it goes back with data for the last 3 weeks to today, and then it forecasts out a week from today. So the model ends a week from today on the 23rd, and it starts on July the 25th. So let's zoom in and watch this. So after next Sunday, we have another week left in August, week and a day left in August, and then traditionally the melt season ends around September the 20th, but the last couple of years we've seen it continue to melt well into October because of the temperature of the water, and you know, it's coming up under the ice too, melting from underneath as well. So even though by September 20th it's starting to go into the dark up there, it's still hard for it to refreeze because the water coming up underneath is warm and keeping it from refreezing and helping it to melt. We've also got an ozone hole over the Arctic right now, and so that's not helping matters any, because we've got more cosmic radiation and radiation from the sun coming in and heating up this surface and heating up the water, and all this water around the sea ice is much warmer than normal. Okay, so here's the end of the model. We can see up here August 23rd. So this is where the forecast is. They're forecasting it to be next Sunday. So we'll see when I do my report. They're showing white around this eastern coastline of Greenland, so pretty much ice-free by next Sunday on this whole east side of Greenland and the north of Greenland, and it's pulling away more from this coastline of Canada, and it's thinning down and collapsing more in the Beaufort Sea, and the edge is moving in as well. And we're seeing just this lighter and lighter lavender come in until it goes white, and then within a day or two it turns to gray, so that there's not even a little skim of ice. So that's where we're at with the sea ice, according to the Navy view. Now, I almost don't want to show this. This is the National Snow and Ice Data Center Sea Ice Index. Here's the concentration for yesterday. I've turned on the blue marble view, and the darker blue is less concentration. Here's the scale down here. So this correlates to what we're seeing on on the Navy, and also when we look at NASA Worldview. This is Arctic sea ice extent. Now extent is just covering, and they count every little crumble of ice as extent, whether it's just a little pond scum or whatever. So it's deceptive to see this. Anyway, this dotted line is for 2012, because until this year, 2012 was the lowest reading that we've had. for sea ice extent in the Arctic, and then we've been below that reading for a lot of this year, and now this blue line, that's this year. Now it shows by the first part of August, the extent is a little bit above where it was in 2012. But that's still deceptive because the thickness is just not there now. In 2012 they had very thick, a lot thicker sea ice. A lot thicker. Here's the Greenland Ice Sheet for today. This is where they're showing it melting. I think this is I'm going to show you melting on NASA Worldview. I looked today and it's unbelievable. You're able to see it flowing. I think it's more than what they're showing. I really think it's showing surface melt in the salmon colors, but I think it's more than that. Here's the total melt days for this year. And here's the Greenland melt extent for 2020, and the blue line is median for 1981 to 2010, and the red line is this year, and this is showing where it's gone high, way higher than normal, like up to about 33% melt extent, and then it jumped up. It looks like at the at the end of July, 1st of August. But see, we're over here. This is not up to date yet. This is just showing the 1st of August, so there's that. 'Cause we're in the middle of August now. Now let's go. Here is I'm going to turn on the blue marble layer so we're not seeing the clouds here. This is the sea ice concentration with the different colors. When you see the purple, that means that's about to go away. And if you see the purple one day and then the next day it won't be there, it means that it melted. So that's just the last little itty bit when you see purple. So let's go back to the 9th. And here's where it was last Sunday on the 9th. And we were starting to really see heavy melt here in this Beaufort Sea. So here's the 10th. Now you can see it shrink physically. You can see it starting to shrink down day by day too. Here's the 10th, 11th, 12th. So you got a lot of purple and blue showing up here. Here's the 13th, 14th, 15th. And you see the black? That's where it went away. And 16th. So we've got a lot of black area where this is open water. We're not going to necessarily be able to see open water because a lot of this area is cloud covered. But tomorrow all this purple area will be gone. That's how fast it's melting. And we can see this big hole that's opened up on the northern and northeast side of Greenland. This is the North Pole here. So let's and there's a little bit of ice left here to the right of Severnae Zemlya, but it's going away. I'm thinking that's from the ice flowing out from the Vovolov ice cap, but according to the Navy model, we'll go back to that. Let me see. according to the Navy model, that's melting this week. That's really melting out. So we'll see where we're at next week on that. Now, let's turn our clouds back on. And let's turn this layer off. There's a lot of smoke up here. You can see all this smoke over Alaska. It's been blowing over from Siberia. Let's refresh and see how much more we can get. So we've got all the data that we need here. So we've got a lot of clouds here, here. It's raining over here in the Barents Sea. And there's another system up here. Now we're able to see a little bit of coastline here. See all those wavy things? I talk about that with my Subscribe Star channel. I talk about that. I don't talk about that on YouTube. I do it on Subscribe Star. I talk about all of that. Here's the coastline. See? Ice free. These are clouds here. Here's the ice edge. Here's this line is the 80° north latitude. So here's what the edge of the ice looks like as it's melting and moving out. This is quite thin. That's in the lavender color. Here is Severni Zemlya. This is cloud covered today, but you can see, here's the Vovolov ice cap. You can see the ice pouring down into the ocean there. Here's a better view yesterday. Here you can see it running off, pouring into the ocean. I'm thinking this ice is left over from what's flowing out. And these other ice caps are all shrinking. These are all ice caps that are going away. Let's go back to today. Okay, here's the ice edge here. Here's Svalbard. Here's Greenland. Now this is cloud covered. Now this side we can see what's left of the ice here on this eastern side where there are no clouds. So that's melting very quickly. That's in the lavender range on the Navy model. And we can't really see the ice very well today because of the clouds. Here's the coastline here at Ellesmere Island. Here's this Milne ice sheet or ice shelf. This is what's breaking out. It's still coming apart. So lots of clouds here. So let's see. We can't really see much through these clouds. I want to see if we can see a hole. Here's an area that's collapsing. Here we go. We can see the water through here. There's a cloud there that we have to. This is in between the clouds. Let's see, here's another one. So there's a lot of, and we're looking at that light, this light gray, that's clouds. This white stuff is just what's left of the sea ice, but they're counting this as extent. So it's very deceptive because it's so far between the pieces of ice. That's water, that's open water there. That is just deceptive, and all of that water is absorbing heat and radiation. And the only reason the extent went back up is because the waves and the wind blew the ice out further out, so that you get a little crumb here and there further out, and they count it as extent. But you can see right there, see all of that open water in between these smaller ice pieces. So it's collapsing quite fast there. So here's this 80-degree north latitude. Here we go. We can see here. You can see it's breaking up. Let's go back to yesterday. We could see more on yesterday. Here you can see the sea ice. See, here's some big holes. This is 80-degree north latitude, so this is now inside that area. And here's the North Pole is right there. So that's what we've got. So with the methane and the smoke and everything is not looking very good. So I think I'll go ahead and wrap up this show. I have more, but I think that's all I want to present today. I would like to end with, I'm reading from the prophetic books of the Bible, and this week I started on Daniel, the book of Daniel. I finished up Ezekiel, and we're on Daniel chapter 6, and this is the chapter where Daniel is thrown into the lion's den. It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom, and over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first, that the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage. Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes, because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king thought to set him over the whole realm. Then the presidents and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they could find none occasion nor fault, forasmuch as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him. Then said these men, We shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his God. Then these presidents and princes assembled together to the king, and said thus unto him, King Darius, live forever. All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes, the counselors and the captains, have consulted together to establish a royal statute, and to make a firm decree, that whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, save of thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. Now, O king, establish the decree, and sign the writing, that it be not changed, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber towards Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day, and prayed, and gave thanks before his God, as he did aforetime. Then these men assembled, and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God. Then they came near, and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree, that every man shall ask a petition of any god or man within 30 days, save of thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, The thing is true, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. Then answered they and said before the king, That Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regardeth not thee, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but maketh his petition 3 times a day. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased with himself, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him, and he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. Then these men assembled unto the king, and said unto the king, Know, O king, that the law of Medes and Persians is, that no decree nor statute which the king establisheth may be changed. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel, and cast him into the den of lions. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, Thy God whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee. And a stone was brought, and laid upon the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet, and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. Then the king went to his palace, and passed the night fasting. Neither were instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. Then the king arose very early in the morning, and went in haste unto the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is thy God whom thou servest continually able to deliver thee from the lions? Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My God hath sent his angel, and hath shut the lions' mouths, that they have not hurt me. Forasmuch as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. Then was the king exceeding glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God. And the king commanded, and they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions, them, their children, and their wives, and the lions had the mastery of them, and break all their bones in pieces, or ever they came at the bottom of the den. Then King Darius wrote unto all people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, Peace be multiplied unto you. I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom men tremble and fear before the God of Daniel, for he is the living God, and steadfast forever, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed, and his dominion shall be even unto the end. He delivereth and rescueth, and he worketh signs and wonders in heaven and in earth, who hath delivered Daniel from the power of the lions. So this Daniel prospered in the reign of Darius and in the reign of Cyrus the Persian. Daniel chapter 6. So as we enter into these end times, we can take heart that Daniel had supernatural protection, and we can have supernatural protection from God as well. But we have to be totally devoted and give our life to God and Jesus and ask for them to protect us and guide us in their ways. And we have to repent and turn from our old lives and live holy, righteous lives. And the end is near, and I believe time is very short, and the only thing that's going to protect us from the evil that is here and coming upon the earth is the supernatural protection of God and Jesus and his angels. So I'm praying for everyone. So until next time, I love you. God bless you. Go in peace, and I will talk to you soon. Goodbye.